The last area that I want to talk about is text. We've been to Internet Archive a couple of times before, but I have to say that this is the area that they really excel above all the others, probably, except for their Wayback Machine. I'm sure you've used that before to find old websites that aren't online anymore. We won't be talking about that here, of course, but other than the Wayback Machine, the text archive that they have is truly one of the best. They have a large collection of books. Many of these books are in the public domain, and these tend to be a little bit better labeled than the movies, much better labeled than the images. For example, you can go to Library of Congress collection. You can search this collection or all collections generally as well. And when you click on one of these, you can scroll down and it'll give you a bunch of information, but what you really want to look at is the possible copyright status. The Library of Congress is unaware of any copyright restrictions on this item. That's why the whole thing is here. You can search through it up here if you like, and you can also download it in a variety of different formats if you want to. So if you did want to search for images within books, you still would need to use that Flickr Internet Archive book images, which doesn't include everything that's on Internet Archive, unfortunately. Or you could download and screen capture any of these that you search for that happen to look interesting. So I could type in a term here, such as frog, and I will try balloon, make no mistake about that. And it will include a variety of different results. Let's try the adventures of Grandfather Frog. This one says not in copyright. There's a few images here, and you can download it in a variety of formats. Project Gutenberg is a contributor here, but you can also go to their website separately and find many books that are in the public domain. One thing to note, however, is that their status might be different in other countries outside of the US. So there's book copyright here. It explains that you must check the copyright laws of whatever country you happen to find yourself in if you're not in the US, if you're redistributing or otherwise reusing ebooks. You can search Project Gutenberg on Internet Archive, because they have their own profile on here as well, Project Gutenberg, or you can just use their site. First, here's Project Gutenberg on Internet Archive. Search within this collection, or you can just browse around randomly if you want to, or you can go to their book search page at gutenberg.org. You can use your search terms here. Let's see if picture of Dorian Gray is in here, and there's actually a few different versions, one in German, Finnish, Dutch, French, as well as English versions. Let's try it here too. And there's a few different versions here. Just click on one of them. There's no preview because it's just a text file. Some of these are rich with images and so on. So it just kind of depends on the way in which it was uploaded. Some of these are a lot more image rich rather than merely being the text. Alice's Adventures Underground, for example, has some interesting images associated with it. Some very interesting images indeed, actually. One last thing that I'd like to note, which is the case for all of these sites, is that creating an account so you can save things for later is a really great thing to do. If I have an account, which I do, on Internet Archive, I can always star something to favorite it so that I'll be able to find it within my account later. I can click on my favorites after I click on my username, and it will list everything that I have favorited on Internet Archive. You can also use the favorite function on Free Music Archive, Flickr, freesound.org, wherever you might be. This is a great way to keep track of things that strike your fancy, although I think that keeping a document associated with your project and all of the links to what you plan on using there will really help you in the long term. And I'm going to actually just create a new document to demonstrate that. We'll just start a blank document. So we can pretend that I'm working on a new project, just for the sake of showing how I keep things organized. And let's say I was going to use Alice's Adventures Underground. So what I usually like to do is copy the title and the author and paste it into here. I usually like to paste without formatting rather than paste, because when I paste it looks like this and I don't necessarily want all of this stuff. I want to just paste it without formatting and then copy the link and highlight the text so that it will go to that link. I could also just put the link after all those details, and when I press enter it will be highlighted. So this way I can make headings that describe what the license type is. Oops. Creative Commons Attribution, for what it is that I'm planning on using in my project. I might have many things that I put here that I link to, and then with whatever works I end up using in the final project, I'll include those links up here. Now I don't necessarily have to include public domain or Creative Commons 0 because it doesn't require attribution at all, but sometimes I like to do that anyway just so people can see where I'm getting certain materials from. I just find that interesting. If you do use any works that are in the Creative Commons at all, there's a pretty easy way to attribute them. I'll just go back to Flickr so I can show you an example of what that would look like to attribute Creative Commons. There's a few different ways to do it. There's sort of best practice ways versus on-the-fly ways. But let me just select one of these pictures to use as an example. So this one is not eligible because it is copyrighted. So let's not forget to change the licensing. We want commercial use and modifications allowed. So let's click on this one here. This one says it's Creative Commons share alike. So I have to, whatever my work is, has to be under a share alike license. Let's just pretend like I'm okay with that. So this is the name of the user, and this is the name of the photo. So to attribute this correctly, I will note that this is Creative Commons Attribution share alike. And that is the title, and it's by Cornerstone Sellers. And when you click on search results, it's going to include all of this other long stuff that's after the actual image by itself because you found it in search results. So all you need to do is copy everything before the n slash. So it'll be the number, username, photos, flickr.com. So usually I have a list of all the different places that I have found images and what kind of attribution they were. But if my project, say, only used this, it would be really easy to just say that it was Napa Valley Balloons. Maybe I would replace the title with a link, and then I would say that it was licensed CC by SA. So I might put that underneath the image, for example. I can even just download this image and pull it into my document. Let's just pretend like this was a blog post, for example, where that would be appearing as the caption underneath. That makes it pretty clear. When you click on it, it says where the link for the photo, who took the photo, and what the Creative Commons designation is. If you want to go one step further, you could even just straight up link to what that means, because a lot of people still don't know what Creative Commons is. So you could go to the licenses at creativecommons.org, or within the Flickr profile, you can go ahead and click some rights reserved, and it will go to the same explanation of the license as you'll find on creativecommons.org. So I can add that link there. So this is a pretty clear way to attribute this image. Some people don't do much to attribute images correctly. They might just say what the title and the author is, or even just the title and not bother to link to it, or not bother to link to what exactly the Creative Commons license is. But I highly recommend that you do so. Again, with public domain, you don't necessarily have to do that in your description or credits for your video whatsoever, but it is nice to let people know where things are from. If you keep track of it, it'll make it a lot easier to do so. You don't have to. If you're doing credits for a video or something like that, you definitely don't ever have to include a URL in your credits. You can just say Napa Valley Balloon 17 by Cornerstone Sellers, and then have CC by SA, as in this example, in parentheses if you wanted to. Or if it's a long list, I like to space them out by what type of license each is, so that it's clear and I don't just repeat the same license again and again if there are a lot of things that are under the same license. So I hope all of that makes it a lot more clear about how to search for Creative Commons works across a different variety of sites and a few different types of mediums. There's a few different areas that we didn't really go over as much, which is the fact that there are a lot of government, museum, and gallery sites that are also searchable, especially for public domain images. Some of them you can find on Flickr and the like, but that's a whole other topic. I might do another video about this too. But if there are any other sites that I missed that seem like they would have worked really well in this video, please do let me know. I would like to make more of these, and let me know if it was helpful or any other suggestions. Thanks so much. Bye.